Hello and welcome to Gulag. In this Gulag, we're going to explain why Serbia, as one explicitly said, will never be accepted into European Union or only after Turkey is accepted. So let's just see why.
A contingent of crusaders was left behind to continue the siege on Nicopolis. Unlike their crusader counterparts, the Ottoman army was far more centralized in its command structure. Ottoman Akinci light horsemen made up the front line, while behind them was a mix of irregular light infantry from Anatolia and the Balkans, called Azebs. Behind them were Bayezid's household troops, also known as the Capiculu, which comprised several thousand elite janissaries and Capiculu Sipahi heavy cavalry. They were led by the Sultan himself and his Grand Vizier Candilazade Ali Pasha. Meanwhile, the Ottoman right wing consisted of Balkan Timali Sipahi heavy cavalry, led by the Sultan's eldest son, Suleiman Çelebi. On the Ottoman left wing were the Anatolian Timali Sipahi heavy cavalry, led by Kara Timurtash Pasha. Lastly, on the extreme Ottoman left wing were the mounted Serbian knights, led by their prince Stefan Lazarevic. In the hours leading up to the battle, King Sigismund sent scouting parties to locate Ottoman positions south of Nicopolis to find the camps Bayezid had concealed from the Crusaders. Due to this situation, the battle was delayed for another 2 hours, much to the annoyance of the Franco-Burgundian element of the army. Soon the waiting became too much for the Frenchmen to bear. Then a battle cry by Philippe of Artois was heard as he seized a banner of the Virgin Mary. "Forward in the name of God and St. George! Today you shall see me a valorous knight!" Before a general order to advance was given, Franco-Burgundian knights under their eager commanders unexpectedly charged forward to seek out the enemy themselves, much to the horror of many senior leaders in the Crusader camp. After some time advancing forward, off in the distance, the Franco-Burgundian line spotted Ottoman Akinci light horsemen scouting their positions. Seeing an opportunity to gain glory on the battlefield, the mounted Western Knights of Europe proceeded to charge into the lightly armoured ranks of the Ottoman Akincis, resulting in heavy losses for the Muslims. With the remaining Akinci retreating back towards the Ottoman camp, and believing they had won a great victory, the Franco-Burgundian mounted knights continued moving forward to make contact with the main Ottoman line. However, as the knights continued riding forward, they encountered a steep slope topped by a forest of sharpened stakes. Behind the stakes lay the main Ottoman line of Azebs, who were armed with various weapons such as axes, maces, bows and spears. Under immense arrow fire from the enemy, many knights dismounted from their horses to get through the Ottoman defences uphill, but many of the Franco-Burgundians were wounded alongside their steeds. Despite this, the poorly armoured Azebs were no match against the mighty Knights of Europe, and many were killed in hand-to-hand combat. Seeing that this front line was in grave danger of collapsing, Bayezid ordered for his Tamali Sipahi heavy cavalry to hit the flanks of the Franco-Burgundian host, while his janissaries reinforced the Ottoman front line. This stabilized the Ottoman line, but the fierce, bloody conflict for the slope continued, as the best knights of Western Europe went toe-to-toe with the Sultan's own elite troops. As the battle raged on, King Sigismund's contingent of the Crusader army, made up of infantry, had finally arrived on the battlefield. Wanting to prevent the two Crusader contingents from uniting their forces at this critical moment in the battle, the now anxious Bayezid played his last hand. Sending forth his remaining Tamali Sipahi cavalry and the remnants of his Akinci and Azeb units, the Ottoman Sultan ordered the creation of a new battle line to be formed between the two Crusader hosts. Meanwhile, the Sultan's own Capiculu Sipahi cavalry was sent forward to flank around and charged into the rear of the Franco-Burgundian knights. The latter move brought about heavy casualties for the Western Knights, as they were now surrounded on both sides by Bayezid's elite household troops. As the battle for the slope continued, the newly formed Ottoman line crashed into Sigismund's contingent of the Crusader army. Although taking heavy losses, the Ottoman line successfully prevented the Hungarian monarch from uniting his forces with the Franco-Burgundians, who were at this point in the battle exhausted after hours of fighting under the burning morning sun. With Sigismund unable to break through Ottoman lines to reach the Franco-Burgundians, panic began to spread in the Crusader army. Perhaps seeing the day was lost and wanting to preserve their troops for future wars against the Ottomans, both Wallachian and Transylvanian contingents of the Crusader host began to withdraw from the battle. Before long, Sigismund's host was now stranded, and the remaining Franco-Burgundians were surrendering to Ottoman troops in droves. At this critical junction, Bayezid delivered the final blow of the battle. The Ottoman Sultan ordered his mounted Serbian knights, led by Stefan Lazarevic, to charge the flank of the remaining Hungarian army. The following Serbian charge would be decisive, as it left many dead on the battlefield, thus resulting in the complete rout of the remaining Crusader army. The remnants of Sigismund's army that survived the Ottoman onslaught made their way up north to the Danube, as Phoenician and Genoese ships began preparations for evacuation operations. In full panic, many Crusaders drowned in the deep waters of the Danube, while the Hungarian king barely escaped with his own life as he was pushed into the river before being saved, dragged onto a local fishing vessel by his personal guard. On his way back to Hungary, Sigismund would place the blame for the Crusader defeat on the Franco-Burgundians, stating that their pride and vanity had cost them the day. The Battle of Nicopolis ended in a decisive Ottoman victory, and was the crowning achievement of Sultan Bayezid I's reign. Having suffered a few thousand casualties, the Ottoman Sultan had defeated and scattered a great European Crusader army in a single battle. The following morning after his victory, in retribution for the massacre of Muslim prisoners of Vidin and Oryahovo, the Thunderbolt ordered all those he had taken prisoner in the battle be killed. What followed would be a general massacre of thousands of Crusader soldiers, in which many were stripped of their clothing and decapitated. Only a handful of high-ranking noblemen were spared from the onslaught, such as John of Navarre. They were ransomed off to their respective European holdings in the following years. The defeat at Nicopolis caused a wave of shock around Europe.
You stupid woman!
A small contingent of Crusaders was—
Okay, so this was it. Now you understand why. History is a tricky thing, isn't it? Till next time, bye.